Hello guys, and we're here today with another very interesting deck profile. We're here today with some Blackwings, yes, some Blackwings, because this deck has gotten some new support and they were pretty awesome in the Arc 5 anime, watching Crow play with him, watching him top deck that Bora, spoiler alerts. Definitely very nice, and of course they're even going to get more support. This deck, like Konami, just throws more support at them. And this deck, it can OTK, but I mean, it's not like... I don't feel like the OTK is too consistent. I'd rather go for a more like stable build because like back row can be a thing, and I'd rather try to go for something like Leo or Beelzeus, something that can be really hard for my opponent to get rid of. So I'm just going to go and running 3 Chris, because Chris can special summon himself, and if you have Whirlwind, he searches out practically your entire deck for your monsters because he has the most attack. And so being able to special him, he can only special himself once that way. If you have 2 Chris, you can't spell summon both of them, so that kind of sucks. But he's definitely very nice. Only running 1 Shura because it's hard for me to explain, honestly. I like to run him because if he does destroy a monster by battle, he can be a free Leo, pretty much. You attack, you summon out this guy, you synchro up into this guy. Oh wait, he becomes a tuner. God damn it, you'd have to synchro up to this guy. I'm used to using the armored guy, but I can't remember his name, the old synchro. So you'd have to use him for this one, and then you could make Leo just because he would summon a token, you get rid of the token, and then you synchro summon up with him into Leo. But only running 1 because he's slow, you have to do an attack, and besides that he doesn't do much else. We want to run a lot of the monsters that can special summon themselves in other ways or special summon another monster. Boar the Spirit only at 2. I feel this is a pretty good balance. Having him at 2, he's definitely a very, very good monster. Being able to have that at piercing can result in some pretty good scenarios where it's, oh, my opponent has a monster in defense position, well I can attack and go for game. And of course being level 4, it helps with making your rank 4 plays and the whatnot. Zephyros is honestly pretty nice because with all the Blackwing monsters that can just special themselves from the hand, unless you bounce a Chris, of course. Like if you bounce Bora or Gale, you can just special them back out, and then you have either another level 4 out for a rank 4 play or a level 3 out, and you can use Gale's effect again because it's not once per turn. Well, it's once per turn for that card, but if you resummon it, you can activate it again. So being able to bounce stuff or bouncing a Whirlwind or whatever is definitely really good. It just allows for a lot of different combos. Only downside is you can only use that effect once per duel. 2 Collude, you don't really need 3, and it's like a win harder card because if you have it and you have all the stuff that you want, great, you can make some really nice plays. But if you don't have a Blackwing, if you don't have the ability to do much with him, and then he's just like a monster that has 1400 attack and is level 3, and that isn't the strongest. I mean, he can, if you do have Whirlwind, summon him, search Gale, summon Gale, and then you could make nothing. Literally make nothing. Or nothing, as some people call him. And then, hey, if you had like this guy, you could then summon him out, and then him and this guy out, and then you wouldn't be able to synchro summon because we don't run a level 5 in this deck. But you'd have a 8. You'd be able to make a Star Eater though. But then we're going into if you had this card and that card. 3 Gales because Gale is like, he can summon himself more than once. So, and his effect can happen more than once. So he's just an amazing card. Like just plopping him down, having an attack, and then going for a single summon, there's no downside. Especially when we're running Go Yo Guardian in this deck. And it's like, oh, now I can take cards that I wouldn't have been able to take before. And he's a really easy card to just bait out different things. Like if your opponent has clearing, or if your opponent has like different monsters, he's a really good like, okay, you have to negate this guy, otherwise I'm just going to attack over him with Chris. And so it's a really easy way to just bait your opponent into wasting their negation cards, using their strike, using like Rafflesia to use a time space or whatever. Only 1 Banaka. He is definitely good because he can make the level 6 if you have the Whirlwind, summon him, search out Gladius, special summon Gladius, go for your synchro summon, and being able to search out any Blackwing monster is really, really strong. but he doesn't have much besides that. He can't spell summon himself. If you can get off his search, it's really nice, and of course you can always summon him back out with like Norden or Blizzard, but then again you wouldn't be able to synchro someone with him because they're both tuners. Gladius, if you only control one Blackwing monster other than Gladius, you can spell summon this card. Kinda sucks, but hey, if you do it right, if you just do your special summons right, like search Chris, summon him, you have 6 at 10. You can make Beelzeus a Leo, and so that can be really good. You just need to know what you have and what you think would be best. And then Steam the Cloak. Steam the Cloak is definitely really nice. Being able to summon himself back out or get that token can be very useful, especially if you're trying to make a Trishula or something, or make it like Starlight or whatever you're trying to make. Can definitely be very useful to have that token. Or you could just get rid of it and summon him on out, and then you have another level 3 tuner out and a Blackwing monster. So now you can summon Bora or Chris or Gale or Orochi. And then Blizzard the Far North. I like to call him Buzzard, because that's what I thought it was. I thought it was Blackwing Buzzard of the Far North. I honestly like him a lot, and I wouldn't mind putting him at 3. I know a lot of other people that play Blackwings don't like him at 3, but he's the only Blackwing monster that gets something else. And if you have Whirlwind, he can't be striked. He can't be striked if you have Whirlwind. Chainlink 1, Chainlink 2, no striking there. It's the same thing with Return of the Monarch. So you can get around strike pretty easily, and just being able to summon out another monster can allow for more really good combos. Like if you have your Bora in your hand, or if you have another Chris, whatever, and then you have a level 4 in your grave, you summon him and then summon out the other level 4 and boom, you got that. Or if maybe you have like Gale in your hand, you could summon out a level 3 and then you could go for a level 6, and then it depends on what else you have in your hand. There's just so many different combos you can have with Blizzard. It depends on what you have. We're running triple maxi because this deck really wants to draw. It really wants to have as much, like this deck wants to go second, because if the offhand you can OTK, I see no reason why not. You want to have as many cards in your hand, and having max C can really help you out, because if you open up with your 5 cards plus your max C, and if your opponent does try to make it feel like they're playing Burning Abyss, or they're playing up Pendulums, or even if they're playing Monarchs and they summon Idea, like you can just get that 1, maybe 2 draws, depending on what you're facing, and that can really help you out for when you go, because if your opponent knows they can't go for game, so why would they do too much special summoning unless they can summon out something really stupid? And so Maxi is really great if you can open up with it, if you see it, and so I really like that. And then Orochi the Scroll, he's great for making Trishula. That's like pretty much one thing you do with him is you make Trishula with him, because you get out your 2 level 4s, you summon this guy out, and then boom, Trishula. And hey, chain links. Trishula, Chainlink 1, him, Chainlink 2. Of course, they could always just negate Trishula summon with Strike, but if they had like Trap, Trick, Strapple, Nightmare, they wouldn't be able to respond to Trishula. So, definitely some very nice combos that you could do with Orochi the Scroll. And of course, he's a level 1 tuner, so you could use them for whatever scenario you have. If you have Nathung, you could summon him out, and if you have Whirlwind, search out Orochi. Go for summon Orochi, and then go for this guy, and then summon back out this guy. And then inflicts another 800. Oh no, you can only use that effect once per turn. I was wrong there. 2 Allure, because Allure's at 2. I almost thought about putting in card for back Feather, but it's just so awful and so saddening, because you can't special summon that turn when you activate it. But this deck really needs consistency, honestly, a lot. I mean, this is why we're playing the 3 Maxi and the Upstart as well. And then, of course, 2 Instant Fusion, honestly, wouldn't be a bad idea to put it to 3, because if you see Norden and you have the life points to summon him, it's just so good, because it allows for so many stupid combos. Like, if you have, even if you just have a level 4 in your grave, you can at least make Strix and then get off a search. If you have a 3 in your grave, you can make any of your 7s. Yes, you can even make this guy, not him. You can make Clearwing, which isn't an awful card. If you had a level 2 like Buzzard, as I call him, and you can make this guy. And so it's just all depends on what you have. Of course, if you have like Gale in your hand, you could summon out the level 4 and then make a Star Eater. Or if you had Orochi in your hand, make a Trish. So seeing Norden is really nice. The only downside is that this card is kind of dead because we're running one Norden and no other targets, no Thousand Eye Strike, no nothing. So I mean, if you wanted to put this card as a Twin Twister, you do have a discard being Instant Fusion after you've already used your Instant Fusion. So, but again, we're only running MST honestly because I was watching one video and he was saying Twin Twister doesn't really work out because with all the discards with Mass Change and with all the cards that you can summon out just by having another Blackwing monster, you don't really have cards that you want to discard. The only time like I could honestly think would be good to discard something is when you have Blizzard. Like if you have 2 Chris and a Blizzard, yeah, Twin Twister would be really nice here. Ditch the 1 Chris, pop 2 back row, summon out Blizzard, summon out Chris, summon out your other Chris. There you have a Leo or Beelzeus. But besides that, like, your only other targets would be Zephyros, and unfortunately Panaka only gets his effect when he's sent from the field to the graveyard. If you ditch him from your hand, it does not count, which is very unfortunate. And then Regeki is Regeki, Soul Charge to get back on Norden, and it can just make a very great, very strong, huge fields. Like you summon out Norden and then like 3 other monsters. It may cost 4,000 life, but if you have that, you can make a field that's crazy. You could get your Strix, search out on Boro or Chris, depending on which ones you have special summoned and which ones you haven't. You can special summon both Boros in the same turn, so Boro is always a safe bet. Like you can then make Beelzeus, Leo, or like a Trishula, or like a combination of those guys. Maybe make this guy, and then be able to pop stuff. So Soul Charge is definitely a very strong, like if you don't think you can go for game, but you don't think you can survive next turn, having Soul Charge is very nice. The only downside though is that we are playing the Solemns, so you might not have the life. Mass Change second is Mass Change second. It's really nice. It really puts your opponent into a setback. Like they can get rid of Darklaw pretty easily, but having Darklaw out, having them lose a card or 2 just being banished can be really nice. And the longer it stays, the longer it's a problem for them, and the better it is for you. Triple Whirlwind is Triple Whirlwind. You want to see this card. As long as you have a Blackwing monster, even if you see all 3 of them, it shouldn't clog. Because I mean, unless you have like the weakest Blackwing monster in the deck, add 1 Blackwing monster that has less attack. So unless you have a Rorschach, you should have something to search. And I mean, if you have Chris, then you get 3 searches for your entire deck. You can search out Borg, and then Gale, and then Panaka if you wanted, or like Gladius, and then like it could result in what you could do is search Shura, Gladius, Gale. And then you're going second, so you summon Gale, have any monsters. No. You summon Gladius, then summon Gale, have any monsters, make Nathung, flick the 800, and make that monster lose another 800. Summon the Shura, get off another 3 searches. So then you would go for like Bora, Kalut, and Blizzard. That's what I'd go for. You could go for another Gale, so if you don't want the Kalut, you could go for another Gale, and that can get you into a Star Eater play at that point, and you haven't even used this guy, so you could make 4 Strix if you wanted to, or whatever, or you could search out the Orochi and go for the Trishula play. So I mean, like having 3 Whirlwind is great, assuming you have another Blackwing monster, and we're only running 21 monsters, which is more than half the deck, so you should. Wait, no. -3, so 18. We're only running 18, so not necessarily half. But then again, you're all going second with this deck, so you should be having more cards. You should be able to see them. I like this card. A lot of people run 2 MST or they run the Twin Twist or whatever. I like this card because unless you're seeing Floodgates, it will destroy your back row. It will destroy the strikes, all face down, spell and trap cards, and you can activate it from your hand. Or if you want to play a little bit more conservatively, you can set it. Have only 1 Blackwing monster out, because of course these summons are all on hand summons, so they can be striked, which is very annoying. But hey, like you summon out the Chris, you set this, and then wait until your opponent's end phase and blow up their entire back row isn't an awful thing to do. And or if you can summon out 3 through whatever reason, maybe you had like a Chris out last turn and he survived, and then summon out Blizzard, set him as Chainlink this says chain link 2, so they can't chain their strike, summon out the Gale, and then boom, hit them with the Delta Crow. Definitely very useful. If you want to put this card down to 1, not a bad idea because it's not always live, but it's like a high risk, high reward. And of course, like I said, the Solemns, they are very hefty, so they will mess with our Soul Charge. But seeing how my logic is, seeing how I can't have the cards to make this deck faster, I'm going to play the cards that make my opponent slower. So that's my line of thinking, because this deck is fun and it can do some very nice stuff, but it's not at all competitive. And then on to the extra deck. Let's go with the Xyz first. Force Strike, Searching, Master Key Beetle, just being able to protect your Whirlwinds or whatever. Nothing gives you an extra normal summon. Go your Guardian and takes a monster, clearing can negate stuff. Monster effects. Blackwing Tamers, you can summon out your Synchros from your graveyard, including Nathung or any of your Blackwings. And then this guy is a floater. If he leaves the field, he will summon out a Blackwing Synchro monster, and he gains 300 attack for each Blackwing monster in your graveyard. And this guy will destroy cards your opponent controls up to the number of other Blackwing monsters. I dislike that it says other, but it's other. So if you have one other Blackwing, like a Gale, pop one card. If you have Gale, Boar, Chris, whatever, you can pop 2, 3, as many as you have. A max of 4. Trishula, banish 3 cards, 1 from hand, 1 from field, 1 from grave. Leo can't be targeted except during the controller's main phase 2. So it's really great against a lot of decks such as Burning Abyss, because they just can't get over him pretty much. Beelzeus, he reduces opponent's monster's attack to 0, and then you gain that monster's original attack as life, and it's the only monster that can attack. And then when you use that effect, it inflicts half damage. So if your opponent has 2 monsters, it's a good idea to attack first, and then target the second monster, reduce its attack to 0, and boom. Started unaffected by everything when it declares an attack, and its summon cannot be negated. So it get around strikes pretty easily, and being a 32 beater, it's very, very nice. It's kind of past its prime, like it can be gotten rid of during your opponent's turn. So it's a really great card to make if you can go for a game, or if you just want to do a lot of damage, or if your opponent just doesn't have a lot of cards. But if it's like early game or mid game and you both are pretty equal, like it may get over a monster, but don't expect it to survive next turn. Summons out a monster from your graveyard. Any card sent to your opponent's graveyard is banished instead, and if your opponent adds a card from their deck to your hand, you get a banish roll and random card from their hand. And that is it for the extra deck and the main deck. Again, this deck isn't too competitive, but it has been seeing some new support. It's going to get some even more support, including Phantom Synchro Summons with Hazy, although they don't call it Phantom Synchro Summons IRL. Pretty much what Hazy does. It's a new card, it's in the OCG. If you have a Synchro monster in your graveyard, a Blackwing Synchro monster in your graveyard, you can Synchro summon it back from your graveyard, and it's treated as a Synchro summon. It should be on Dev Pro. Oh well, this video is already too long. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Watch the anime. Watch how well Blackwings do in the anime. It's pretty nice watching them. If you guys enjoyed this video, don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. See you guys later. Bye.